Hey, what's going on YouTube? It's a CJ. Welcome to episode 12 of the 120 gallon Reef. Now I'm talking to you guys live from the plantation on my iPhone microphone to let everyone know I crossed the 10,000 subscriber mark this week. Now, I'll tell you, I always view myself as just a dude with a cell phone, a fish tank and a YouTube channel, just documenting my journey, for better or worse. I'm not an expert. I make mistakes. I've lost money. I've had successes, but the main thing is just documenting and sharing the journey with you all. And I'm really grateful that 10,000 people have decided to take time out of their life to join this with me. And I want to make sure that everyone that has shouted me out, share my videos, like my videos, dislike my videos, everyone, let you guys know you appreciate it. So thank you. But as far as this update, we're going to cover a little bit as far as my weekly maintenance and new additions. I know you guys always love new additions, so we're going to cover that as well. So let's get to this update. I hope you guys enjoy it. So let's go ahead and jump right into this update and make a few adjustments to my JBJ auto top off. Now, for anyone that's new to my channel, I've been using these auto top offs for around 4 years on multiple tanks. Never had an issue. It's cheap, it's effective, it's a solid unit for the price. Now, it does have a built-in safety feature. If there's a pump stuck on or a float switch stuck in the on position, it'll time itself out and disable the whole unit to prevent any floods or overfilling or anything that you don't want happening. Now, in the past, it's been a great feature, but on the 120 gallon Reef, I found that with the larger return section and using the same old Tom's aqualifter pump that's half clogged with calc and all that other stuff from the past, it's been timing out multiple times on me. So instead of going out and buying a new pump and our bigger pump, I've decided to adjust the time out period within the JBJ unit itself. Anyone can do this. All you do is remove the back panel, turn the screw. You can adjust it from 3 to 5 to 7 minutes, and that should help alleviate any issues and hopefully save you a little extra money in your pocket. So just want to put that out there for anyone that may be experiencing the same timeout issues that I described to you. Now, when it comes to sump maintenance, honestly, you can make this as easy or as difficult as you want it to be. Now, in my situation, I designed this whole system around 2 things in mind. First one being ease of access to all of my equipment, meaning I don't have to remove one piece to get to another. I don't have to plug anything. I don't have to move any PVC, unions, nothing. I can just reach in and grab what I want, remove it, go to the sink and clean it out. Now, the second thing I wanted to do was keep the sump as clean as possible. And that's where I want to introduce the self-cleaning sump idea to you guys. I made a video on this a while ago. Basically, by manipulating the valves on my manifold, I can recirculate the water through my sump, trap any detritus in the filter floss, and remove it without having to worry about siphoning or doing anything to clean the sump. And it's definitely done a great job with keeping my sump debris free, a lot easier than doing it the manual way. So what are my thoughts on this SCA 302 skimmer? After using it for a couple of months and being able to compare it to a few skimmers over the years, I would say without a doubt, this is probably the darkest, stinkiest skimmate that I've ever smelled in my life. I wouldn't wish this smell upon my worst enemy. It's definitely not something I'm even wanting to clean out in the sink anymore. I have to immediately follow it up with pine sol and bleach. But that's a good thing. When it comes to skimmers, you want it to remove as much of that nasty stuff from your tank as possible. And I'm still working on the tuning portion, to make sure I'm not trapping much of the gunk in the neck and more in the cup. But overall, very, very satisfied with this skimmer's performance to date. Now, the second part of my routine is going to be the continued export of nutrients via the algae scrubber. Now, keep in mind, I've been able to harvest this every week. So every time I do this, I'm removing all the phosphates, nutrients, organics, and everything else that it takes to grow this algae and exporting it from my tank. So with that being said, you'll notice the color difference. On the left is the first harvest, on the right is the third harvest. The lighter the algae means the less nutrients in the tank, which is kind of mind-boggling. Keep in mind, it's still being lit 24/7, and I've added more fish. I have 10 fish now, and the algae is still not darkened up yet. So basically what that lets me know is my system is still capable of a lot more fish, which is great because it's going to go right into my stocking plans, and we'll talk about that later. Now, for those of you all that were curious, I did do a quick spot check on my parameters yesterday, and my phosphates were 0.021 via my ultra low phosphorus handle checker, and my nitrates were detectable a little, anywhere between 2 and 5 parts per million. That would be my best guess. Not zero, but definitely not anything worth being concerned. So, as far as my filtration and how effective it is, I will say right now I'm thoroughly surprised with how much it can handle. Not to mention, I still have plans on adding more pond matrix and adding a little bit more to my filtration as I keep beefing up this stock list. The last part of my maintenance routine is going to be replacing my mechanical filtration. And it brings up the question for you guys. What's your favorite method? Filter socks, filter floss, or are you just someone that just doesn't believe in filtering at all and just letting the tank run natural? I'll put a poll in the top right. Very curious to see what you guys' thoughts are on this. Now for me personally, definitely opted to go filter floss for one reason. Ease of access, meaning I can reach in here, grab it, throw it away, replace it with something new. I don't have to worry about washing it. I don't have to worry about doing anything to make it reusable. I can just keep moving on with my life and not worrying about it. Now, that's good in a way, but it's also bad in a way, meaning I have to keep buying more floss. I'm gonna have to keep buying more mechanical filtration. So, there's merit to the argument both ways. Not to mention, it makes my skimmer go crazy. So I'm not sure, which way is better or not. Ultimately, I'm happy with how it's cleaning my water, but at the same time, I am looking more to something that's reusable, maybe a sponge or something else I can replace that area with. So just curious what you guys' thoughts are on that and which method you all use and prefer. So hopefully it gives you guys an idea of what it takes for me to maintain, this 120 gallon reef in the making. And I call it in the making because honestly, I don't have corals yet, so it's more like a fish only saltwater system. But either way, it gives you an idea. Now when it comes to glass maintenance, I'm still using the same old Magfloat with a paper towel on the outside to help clean the outside at the same time. And I'll also clean the back glass with it. So quick tip, if you're new, make sure you leave space behind your tank so you can get your arm back there and use your glass cleaning tools without having to put your hand in the tank. Now during the beginning of this vid, you guys seen fish acclimating, me adding new fish to the system. But before we talk about the new additions, let me make sure everyone's caught up on what's happened over the last few weeks. Because even though I've covered this in live streams, a lot of my subscribers overseas or people that just don't have time to catch them. So I'm gonna make sure everyone's in the loop before we move forward. So just a quick reminder, roughly 3 weeks ago, I added all the first additions to the system, including 4 tangs. That's when the drama started, basically. I had a blue-eye coal tang, a yellow tang, a powder blue, and a powder brown. Trying to break the rules, trying to push the limits like I always do in this hobby. Unfortunately, that failed miserably. I wouldn't say miserably, but it did fail. I had to end up removing or rescuing the powder brown because the powder blue just would not let up off of him. No physical damage, but so much chasing and so much fighting that he just had to get removed. Ultimately, I traded him for a Fairy Wrasse, and that stock list stayed the same for 2 weeks. During that 2 weeks, no problems, no drama. All the chasing stopped, everyone's getting along, everyone's happy. So now fast forward to today. We have added 4 additional fish, including another tang. Now I know what you guys are thinking, this guy's crazy. He's adding more drama to the tank, and ultimately you guys are probably right. But the result is different in this case. The tang I added is going to be a Tomini Tang. He's the same family as the blue-eye coal tang, a bristle-tooth family. So I expected a little drama between those 2 fish, which happened. Basically, they had a little spat here and there. The powder blue had a little spat with them, but ultimately, these guys have worked out their differences, and everyone's starting to kind of realize their place in the pecking order. So right now, the tank boss is the yellow tang without a doubt, followed by the powder blue, then the blue-eye coal tang, then the Tomini Tang, the new guy. Now when it comes to the rest of the fish in the tank, I did add an additional angelfish, a potter's angel, which is spatting a little bit with the flame angel that was already in the system, and I added 2 more wrasses. So total stock list is 10 fish. Have the 4 tangs that I mentioned, have the 2 angels, And I also have a tricolor Fairy Wrasse, a Christmas Wrasse, a yellow chorus Wrasse, and a Maintenance Wrasse. So for the moment, 10 fish, everyone swimming around. The tank is honestly looking really nice. Scape's looking nice, everyone swimming throughout the scape, and I'm really enjoying how the stock list is shaping up so far. Now, even with all that being said, I'm still not done stocking this tank. Even though I'm done with tangs, I still want to add a few more wrasses and smaller fish to help accent the colors and to accent the scape a little more. So, my wish list for now is going to be a radiant wrasse, some kind of leopard wrasse, peppermint hogfish, flame hogfish, some kind of blenny, maybe a Midas blenny, and maybe a pair of sleeper gobies or some kind of goby to handle the substrate for me. And then after that, I may add a few more smaller fish, chromis, or maybe even some damsels later in the game. So, hey, I'll tell you guys, it's going to be a fully stocked, basically overly stocked reef tank, roughly 16 to 20 fish. And it's definitely going to be a sight to see when all these guys are swimming around. Now, one other change I want to point out is going to be to my rock work. It is slowly but surely changing from that dead dry Pukani Rock to live Pukani Rock, meaning it's full of bacteria, it's starting to grow all kinds of healthy algae on it. It's getting full of life, that stuff that's good for your reef tank. This is not a situation where you see algae and you panic, check all your parameters and black out your tank and dose chemicals. This is actually a great sight of my tank maturing, and even better, it's giving the tangs and the angelfish something better to do than fight. So they actually can go around and show normal behaviors, graze on the rock, enjoy themselves, and actually look happier in the reef tank. So all is well. I'm really happy to see this. This is just another check in the box, moving forward to adding corals. So now to answer that question, everyone's been asking me over the last few weeks, when are you going to add your first corals? In all honesty, guys, I don't know yet, but I'm planning on it the end of this month or the beginning of next month. It all boils down to a few things. The most important part of it, money. Allocating funds to what I need right now compared to what I want right now. And what I need right now is for my calcium reactor to be set up and established on the system and with some type of controller. So I'm going to allocate funds to that first. Once that's set up and I feel comfortable with using it, then I will start investing in corals. It's kind of that situation, what comes first, the chicken or the egg? The corals or the reactor, or the reactor or the corals? You can go either way with it. But in my situation, since I already have the reactor, I would much rather have it on the tank, have it supplementing everything I need to whatever corals I add, instead of adding the corals first and then chasing numbers later without the reactor. So that's kind of what it boils down to. But if anyone has any companies or friends or anyone else that will be interested in donating corals to the system, helping the cause, I'm more than happy to discuss that if you're interested. So I think we're getting close to a good stopping point for this video. And I also want to mention, life is getting really busy at this point. I'm a head football coach, and I'm starting to spend a lot more time out of the house and game planning and practice planning. So that means less time for video updates. So I'm going to do my best to keep you guys in the loop on things that are important and, critical things that are changing on the tank. But I may have a few less videos this month moving forward. So I want to make sure I give you guys a heads up for that. But I'm hoping, you guys enjoyed this update, watching the new fish swim around, watching the tank mature, and learned a little bit as far as my routine. So as always, hey, you guys like, comment, subscribe. You guys keep doing what y'all do. Y'all be easy and happy reefing.